near Tahlequah at the Nature Conservancy's J.T. Nickel Family Nature and Wildlife Preserve. And joining me is the preserve's director, Jeremy Tubbs. Jeremy, can you tell me a little bit of background about this area?
Sure. The preserve is owned by the Nature Conservancy, Oklahoma chapter. It's a 17,000 acre preserve that we manage for wildlife species, native wildlife species, and native wildlife plant communities.
That's a pretty large chunk of land to have all together here in Oklahoma. It's great.
Oh, yes.
Now, of course, we're going to talk about the plants, but another unique feature you have here is a herd of elk, and that's kind of unusual for here in Oklahoma.
That's correct. There was an elk reintroduction to the preserve in 2005 where they released 20 animals at the time. Right now our herd size is about 40 animals.
Wonderful. Now we're standing in one of the areas that you've preserved and actually restored into a prairie habitat. Tell me about that process.
Well, we call it prairie restoration, but it's almost more like prairie reconstruction, where it used to be Bermuda fescue fields that cattle grazing was done on, and now we went in with a warm season grass. We spray those fescue Bermuda fields out, and we come in and we drill in with a no-till drill, warm season grass. It has a mix of a few forbs along with that.
Okay. And then, so that gets the grasses established, a few of the flowering forbs, and then you use fire and come back and reseed to get more flowers in, right?
That's correct. We use fire as a management tool for the warm season grass fields. Once we get those fields established, we'll go out, we actually hand collect native forbs and wildflowers that are localized to this area. We'll go out and try to find remnant prairies, usually in roadside ditches, things like that. We'll come back in, we'll run those through a process through a hammer mill where we get pure seed. We'll put those into the no-till drill and we'll interseed those within the fields that's already established.
Okay. How often do you go through that system of burning and reseeding?
On the warm season grass fields, we could burn these fields to keep them healthy about every year, every other year. We do a rotation of our seed because we usually get about 100 pounds of seed a year, so we kind of spread it out throughout the preserve.
I imagine that eventually you hope to get to a point where you're not having to add the seed, that it just comes in naturally. We
do hope that happens. Some of the seeds seem to take about 4 or 5 years for it to show up, but we continue to put it in there until the fields have enough diversity that we feel like we have a native prairie, or at least a look of the native prairie.
I find it pretty admirable. The Nature Conservancy likes to collect that local seed instead of purchasing seed that comes from outside. So I'm sure that adds a little bit of extra effort on your part.
Oh, it sure does. It takes a lot of time to collect all that seed and allow it to dry and then run it through the hammer mill.
Now you also use fire in addition to the prairie up in your forest areas. Tell me about what's the purpose of that?
When we run fire through our forest areas, we're hoping to open the canopy. The canopy now is so closed that we're not getting a lot of growth underneath the trees. We have a thick layer of leaf litter, and so we'll go in and we'll run fire through there and clean up that leaf litter and allow that seed that's been there. Some seed's been there from native prairies, been here in savannas for 50 to 100 years, and that allows that seed a chance to germinate as we open up the canopy and sunlight can reach the forest floor.
We could really see the effects of that. There's some beautiful plants flowering now and some great ground covers, and we'll feature a few of those.
Okay.
The forest floor has large patches of mayapple or Podophyllum pileatum, as well as a variety of native ferns. We also have a few showy flowers, including the wild hyacinth or Camassia scyloides, the beautiful fire pink Silene virginianica, and the larkspur Delphinium tricorn. We also find wild indigo or Baptisia bracteata, and the blue phlox common to open woodlands called Phlox diverticata.